One of the best parts about Emerald Elite Redux is discovering a new Pokemon that is way better than you thought. With all of the new abilities and moves Pokemon get, a lot of them are much better than they are in the base games. But with so many options, it might be difficult to find some of these hidden gems. Today, I will be going over some of the best ordinary, everyday Pokemon and what makes them valuable. Starting off with one of the very best non-legendary, non-mega Pokemon in Golisopod, which is pretty wild to think about considering it was never really good. Its stats are the same, still having a very impressive 140 defense and having 125 in attack, meaning when it gets hit, it'll definitely hit back and do a lot of damage. 40 in speed though is what puts people off of it. The other reason it's awful to use in the base games and what makes it so bad is its ability Emergency Exit. Once it gets hit, it automatically gets switched out and it's really more annoying than helpful. While it still has this as an option, it is no longer forced to run it. That alone is a buff, but now it gets a new ability as well as 3 other innates. Choosing between Predator or Tough Claws, I always go for Tough Claws as the damage is just too good to pass up. Its moves will always have a high chance to crit and will always be at full power, as its Hyper Cutter innate gives them +1 crit and prevents attack drops. Shell Armor not only reduces all damage against it by 20%, it also means it can't be crit itself. But it has one of the best abilities in the game which really helps it shine, Coward. Coward sets up Protect for it on entry. This is extremely valuable. It gets a free switch in per battle, which is very helpful. But that's not all this helps with. If it's the lead Pokemon or comes in after a Pokemon faints, Coward will be active but allows it to use any status move while still blocking an attack. This means it can use Swords Dance, Iron Defense, Spikes, Bulk Up, Rain Dance, any status move for free. Using Aqua Jet after that can take out plenty of Pokemon and most can't take it out in one shot anyway, so it can attack again. Or it can just take advantage of Stab First Impression, which got a ridiculous buff in this game, now guaranteeing a flinch on top of the +3 priority. Pairing First Impression with Aqua Jet or Sucker Punch is busted, especially with a Bug or Water Gem or Life Orb. If you've been watching my current Nuzlocke, you know just how insanely good Golisopod can be. In a challenge where Pokemon aren't allowed to faint even once, Golisopod has been the most valuable team member I've had since the 2nd gym. That should tell you how insanely good it is. Believe it or not, the funny ice cream sundae Pokemon, Vanillux, is actually pretty good. Really good, actually. With 110 special attack and a bump to its speed, going from 75 to 95, it's a solid special attacking threat. This is made much better and much scarier thanks to the pairing of its 2 abilities. Being able to set up Hail on entry and being able to boost its speed by 50% because of Slush Rush. It's now much faster than it looks and it can take out more Pokemon than it normally could. You can invest much more into special attack, including the choice specs, to bring its power even higher. Stab Blizzard will also always hit, so there's no risk there. This also includes Sheer Cold, which was changed in this game to be a stronger version of Freeze Dry. Giving it Hydro Pump gives it perfect coverage. Not to mention, all of its moves hit twice thanks to Multi-Headed. Other benefits of Hail, including setting up Aurora Veil, is much easier, and passive recovery due to Ice Body. Vanillux can be caught pretty early on and is very good early on. One of the most powerful early game sweepers is one that you might not have expected. Oricorio has been given some insane tools. Although it got a slight boost to its special attack and speed, it's the addition of its new signature ability that makes it great. And this new ability is admittedly really broken. That ability is 2-step. This will let Oricorio use a 50 base power version of its signature move, Revelation Dance, which, depending on its form, changes its type for any dance move it uses. So a dance move like Petal Dance, Fiery Dance, or even Revelation Dance itself will hit opponents twice, essentially making them that much stronger. Now I know abilities like Parental Bond exist, so hitting twice really isn't that busted, but this works with any dancing move, including one of the greatest status moves of all time, Quiver Dance, which it gets access to at any level. A move that boosts your special attack, speed, and special defense while also hitting a Pokemon with a 50 base power stab move, which is getting boosted by the move itself, is just so broken. The fact Oricorio can take out a Pokemon with Quiver Dance makes it extremely dangerous. Its Ghost form is probably the best because its Phantom Pain ability lets Revelation Dances hit everything. There's only so much you can do when it gets powered up. One Pokemon I kind of forget exists but can actually be pretty decent at times is Durant. It's a semi-bulky attacker with some serious power behind it if you let it get set up. Now with a 78 in special defense, which isn't much more, but it can at least help it survive in more cases. It still has access to a very powerful yet self-balancing ability in Hustle, giving its attack stat a 50% increase while decreasing all accuracy by 20%. Now changed to a 40% and 10% respectively, but this is completely negated because it gets the innate Compound Eyes, meaning it gets a boost with no drawback, letting it rip off huge chunks of damage. And it will be taking chunks as its Strong Jaw ability encourages it to use a lot of biting moves, including Stab Iron Fangs and Bug Bite, as well as Crunch. While it won't be the savior of a team, it can certainly be a helpful addition to most teams. A Pokemon with a great design but was always kinda trash is Zangoose. It has a really nice attack stat of 115 but nothing else. They've all now been given a boost, most notably its speed stat, giving it more opportunity to use its high attack stat. An attack stat that can be raised by 50% if it's poisoned thanks to its Toxic Boost ability. Usually this limits the time it's on the field, but now it no longer takes poison damage. This also means it can now run Endure to not only activate its Toxic Orb, but activate its Anger Point ability, raising its attack every time it's hit, or just maxing it out when it's crit. Or it could run hyper aggressive, letting all of its moves hit again with 25% power. With its decent speed, Tough Claws boosting its contact moves, and access to moves like Close Combat and Stab Last Resort, it can easily blow up a team. The early game birds usually become outclassed pretty early in the games and don't bring a lot to teams. Swellow, however, is much better than most options. It has almost the exact same stats, but a plus 10 in special attack, so it can run either set. Maybe the most important addition to Swellow is the ability Air Blower, which sets up Tailwind on entry. This not only helps Swellow outspeed even Scarfed Pokemon, but can also help your team outspeed Pokemon it normally wouldn't. It also will always have the Guts innate, so running Flame Orb and the move Facade will do insane damage to any Pokemon that doesn't resist it. Special attacking sets can also run Stab Boom Burst or Hurricane. You won't need to worry about accuracy as Keen Eye will make it much more likely. Swellow isn't game breaking by any means, but its power and Tailwind support can be extremely helpful. Azumarill has only ever been good because of huge power, and with the addition to Fairy, it became even better. Well, now it has even more tools at its disposal. Stat buffs are a big part of this now, with increases to all of its stats, with a much higher special attack, so it can run both sets. Huge power is an innate for it, so you won't have to worry about losing it for something else. And you don't want to miss out on the improved Anticipation ability, allowing it to block one super effective move. This makes it very hard to take it out before it belly drums and sweeps your team with Aqua Jet. It can also just eliminate one of its weaknesses completely with Sap Sipper. Water Veil is also very helpful as it will get Aqua Ring on entry, as well as burn immunity, so there's no way to dampen its attack. Azumarill appears on a lot of NPC teams, so I'm sure you've felt the power this Pokemon has. Now, Orbeetle is a Pokemon I don't think many people tend to think of when you think of Generation 8 Pokemon, and for good reason. It sucked. For some reason, it even got a Gigantamax form, which might become a Mega in this game one day, but who knows. Well, despite only giving it slight increases to its stats, it's actually a very solid Pokemon for a number of reasons. It has a very unique skill that is extremely valuable. Other than Mew, it's the fastest guaranteed sleep setter in the entire game. How? Because its innate ability Gravity Well sets up gravity for it, which if you didn't know, gravity increases the accuracy of all moves by 1.67 times. Orbeetle's Hypnosis will always hit. It doesn't even need to run its Hypnotist ability. While Pokemon are asleep, it can set up Quiver Dances and prepare itself to sweep entire teams. It's also a Psychic Terrain setter with Psychic Surge, so it's safe from Sucker Punches and can dish out heavily boosted Expanding Forces. You can get this Pokemon immediately after the second gym and will quickly dominate the game for you. It has all the tools to be a support Pokemon with dual screens and sticky webs. Even Baton Pass, so it can share the Quiver Dance stats with its teammates. If you haven't tried Orbeetle before in a playthrough, you won't be disappointed. There are a ton of hidden gems in this game, and these are just a few of the ones that you may have overlooked or maybe didn't even consider. If you have any underrated Pokemon that you use in your playthrough, let me know down below and how you brought out their potential. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe and like for more. Shout out to all the members, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.